Today is a day we're marking as Wellbeing Sunday. It's a difficult time of year for many. The middle of January, sadly, tragically, is the peak time for people in our country taking their own lives. Not something we like to think about, but something we do have to face. I remember nearly 20 years ago when I was an archdeacon, one of the clergy in my archdeaconry asked me to be involved in the funeral of his teenage daughter who'd taken her life. And he asked for that funeral to make use of Psalm 139, which is a psalm set for today. So it seems very appropriate to read just a few verses from that, verses 7 to 12. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. The darkness of the middle of winter, this time of year, is a difficult thing for many people. But the idea of spiritual darkness, emotional darkness, everything being bleak and black is part of what is so damaging to people when mental health, well-being, all just goes wrong and can collapse. And here we have a wonderful word from God. Can we escape from God's Spirit? Can we escape from his protection? Oh, no. Wherever we try to flee from him, he's there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, your right hand hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. Our God reaches everywhere, and even when things seem unbearably dark, as they do for people at times, and for many people at some point in their lives, even in the darkest times, as Christians, we can confidently say, God is there. It's never completely dark if you can see the light of God. And even in the darkest times, the very, very darkest, bleakest, most hopeless times, the hand of God reaches out to touch us and hold us and keep us safe. So as we think today of Wellbeing Sunday, of those who struggle with mental health, well-being, emotional stability and security, the Christian message is just as clear and just as strong and every bit as relevant as it is in good times. Because even darkness isn't darkness to God. Even if we were to do the unthinkable and cover ourselves and immerse ourselves in darkness, even there, God's light will find us. Let's be confident with that knowledge. Let's know it for ourselves when we need to know it, that God's love there is in the darkest time. Let's also find ways to show God's love to those who are most in need, to those who feel the darkness most strongly around them. May this Wellbeing Sunday be a day when we proclaim God's presence and love as the answer to our very, very deepest needs. The Lord bless you today.
Bishop Donald has shared with us there such an important truth, that God is there with us. God is there for us, no matter how we feel and no matter what is going on in our lives or the world around us. When we're struggling, it can sometimes feel as if God is a long way away or not even there at all. but the truth is that God is always there. Bishop Donald has focused on those beautiful words from Psalm 139 as an encouragement for us all at this difficult time. And I want to add to that a couple of things to help our well-being. You might know that one of my favourite verses in the Bible is John chapter 10, verse 10. Jesus saying that he came into the world to bring us life in all its fullness. I truly believe that God wants us to be living life to the full and to embrace it. But sadly, a lack of well-being often gets in the way of that. Staying connected to God through prayer is really important to our well-being. At a time when we're experiencing more isolation from others, staying close to God can really help. Now, I know that when you're struggling, prayer can be really hard. But something as simple as reciting the Lord's Prayer or using one of the prayer resources I've sent out over the past few months is a really good start. Or you could try using a holding cross or even holding a pebble when you want to pray but can't find the words, just as a symbol, as a sign that prayer is taking place. You can get holding crosses from various places online, but please get in touch with me if you would like me to get one to you. As well as praying ourselves, we can pray for one another too. Since the first lockdown last March, members of the church councils here have committed to pray for different people from our congregations. This means that everyone who is linked to our churches has been prayed for regularly over the past year. How about thinking of 3 people you know who you could commit to pray for over the coming months? Even if you can only manage to do it once a week, it will still make a big difference. Even if you think others are handling all of this pretty well, they will almost certainly have times when they find it a struggle. And finally, one of the things that helps our mental health is having a purpose, contributing, giving, belonging to something. Although, as Psalm 139 reminds us, each of us is of infinite value just because we are, just because we exist, making a difference can make a big difference to how we feel. But sometimes it can feel as if we don't have anything left to give. And I know a lot of people are feeling like that right now. That can then make us feel worse about ourselves, and it can be a bit of a downward cycle. A few years ago, a very wise priest gave me a little jug to keep in my study to remind me to practice self-care, to take care of my well-being. She said that we can't pour anything out of an empty jug. Wise words. Looking after our well-being is really important because we can't help others if we have nothing left to give. A bit like the reminder you were given when you fly that you need to fit your own oxygen mask before you help others fit theirs. If your jug is pretty full this week, brilliant. Pray about what you can do to bless and support others. And spend some time thinking about what helps keep your jug topped up. If you think about it when you're in a good place, when you're struggling, it will be easier to put those things into practice. And if you've just got a little bit left, or feel as if there is nothing left to pour, ask God to remind you that you are loved and not alone. Ask others to pray for you and support you if you can. And seriously think about what you can do to replenish your reserves. What will help you rest and recharge properly, not just avoiding what's going on, but what will really help build you up again. God cares about our spiritual, physical, and emotional needs, and all 3 are so closely intertwined because we're spiritual, physical, and emotional beings. My prayer for all of us over this latest lockdown is that we will all find that fullness of life that Jesus came to bring.